Hey guys, what's going on? This is Dragon, and today we're going to be doing a video on the top 5 best junglers as of patch 7.9, or the mid-season patch, where a bunch of changes have changed, such as, Zac, Sejuani, and Maokai. Also, tank items have been updated and some new ones, of course, so you bet your ass that, the jungle has changed. Also, this video is going to be edited and sponsored by Pro Guides. Check them out for all your rank game needs. You can also ask some questions if you have some. Anyways, with all that being said, let's get started. Alright, so coming at number 5 is going to be Elise. So this is one of my picks, one of my main champions, one of my one tricks, if you want to say that. She is really good at the early game. She can dive like crazy if you're pushed up into your tower and then just, dive your ass. She's got really good skirmishing power, and yeah, her ganks are really good because she has 2 gap closers, her E and her Q, and also some nice CC. So she adds a lot of early game pressure to the map, and people go mobility boots on her if they want a lot more pressure and just want to gank like crazy. And her single target clears are pretty good, although Wraith Camp and Golems can be kind of hard to do, but yeah, essentially she just wants to snowball the game and gank like crazy. But of course she does have some flaws, such as a mid game and late game. Well, it's more of a late game. She's not really a tank like Lee Sin. She can only go kind of caster. If she builds tank, she's not really the most useful tank, and yeah, she just kind of falls off a little bit later. But of course, if you're really good at finding ganks, I think she's the champion for you, and especially if you know how to play this champion, then yeah, I mean play her, because I play her. And I've heard some people say, Pants, why do you play Elise if you're so bad at skill shots? I mean, it's pretty easy to hit your cocoon if you're Asian. She's pretty good for Asians. But yeah, just try not to get a early game disadvantage, otherwise you lose the game as Elise. Most times, of course. Anyways, here's the recommended build for Elise. Alright, coming up at number 2 is going to be Lee Sin. This champion is really good in the right hands, as I say always, but of course if you don't really know how to play him, don't play him. But basically, if you can play him, he's really strong right now, especially in this meta, because the more you gank and the less you do camps, the more XP you will get because of catch-up XP. And that's why you're seeing all these early game junglers just pop out and no more power farm junglers, as that meta with Hecarim is gone now. But yeah, this champion, basically same thing as Elise, but let's just say in the mid game and late game he can become a tank, and of course an initiator for your team to kick back the enemy carries, so you get a nice setup. But of course, just make sure you know how to play him, because knocking the enemy team into your team is pretty hard, or doing the bowling ball ulti, that's hard as well. And of course, hit your skill shots, because his Q, it's pretty easy to get juked up in high elo, but unless you know the movements of high elo players, then maybe you might get it. Either way, this champion, sometimes I even ban it, because I don't want to face high elo Lee Sins, because they're really good. And they can snowball the game. So yeah, this champion, don't really like seeing him too much, and if he gets ahead of Elise, well, Elise becomes useless, and I don't like that. Yeah, kind of useful also when you're behind. I mean, he becomes utility, can peel off your carries, or of course still initiate. And yeah, this champion right now is pretty good at the moment. Not a pick or must ban, because if the enemy Lee Sin sucks or is auto-filled Lee Sin, then he's gonna suck ass. But if you have a Lee Sin main or who has like over 200 games with him, damn, he's gonna be scary. Anyways, here's the recommended build for Lee Sin. Now next up, coming after Lee Sin, is gonna be it's gonna be Graves. So this champion got a nerf a while back, well, several nerfs, but the most recent one is gonna be the magic resist one, where his E doesn't give that anymore. Now it just gives armor, so I guess you can counter him with magic damage, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter too much, I guess, because it's sort of hard to get the stacks on your E anyways in a team fight, unless it's really long and you're dashing into them. But yeah, basically, if you need some magic resist, go buy a Maw. Otherwise, doesn't really matter too much, because in the early game he's still good, great farmer, although weak ganks, but all around a good jungler. Can definitely become a carry jungler himself, because well, he's basically a ranged bruiser, can take a hit while dealing a bunch of damage. And yeah, I mean, goddamn, this champion's still pretty good despite all the nerfs. Also, I think there might be some new builds in this patch because, you know, Death Stance got buffed, several items got changed and stuff like that. So you might see different items on him. I know I build Death Stance on him, but I don't know about other people. I dislike Black Cleaver, but of course, yeah. I mean, this guy is very versatile in his build order, so he can build basically anything and still do good. Anyways, here's a random build for Graves. Let's just go with that right now. Next up is going to be Sejuani. So this champion is, well, a new champion basically. Like, what I like about her is her passive. Her passive deals a shit ton of damage, like 10% to 20% of their maximum health if you freeze them, which means you use your ultimate or your E, which means a lot of damage. And if you have other melee champions, it's really easy to get your E off on people because it's kind of like Braum, but only for melee. And also in the first initial fight of the battle, I mean, she has like a 2-second frost armor, which is basically, just think Malzahar's passive. So when she enters the fight, super tanky. Oh yeah, and her ultimate, it now creates a nice storm that slows everyone and also kind of damages them, and also bursts out after like 2 seconds, which is really cool, and just offers some zoning, not a lot. I don't really see people caring too much about the, you know, the storm, but it is there and it's kind of useful. And yeah, I mean, her E, it stuns people for 2 seconds. So mid game comes, you're level 12, guess what? People are gonna get stunned for 2 seconds if you have melee champs plus yourself, or you just proc it yourself, and they're basically locked down, plus they're gonna get hit by your passive, which deals a shit ton of damage. And yeah, I mean, Jesus, this champion is a beast. I think maybe in the future you might see some damage nerfs, to be honest, but yeah, this champion, I mean, once she gets skirmishers, she can basically duel a lot of champions. It's actually pretty funny. Well, obviously she can't duel Jhin or Elise, but of course, like any champion, she gets ahead, she can probably. But yeah, this champion scales like crazy in the mid game and late game. Her early game though, oh, it's just awful. Like her clear speed, it's just like, oh, it's so bad. Because like you just use your W and then you just kind of wait a bit, and then you have your E, but also after you use your E, you wait a bit, and it's just so bad. Pretty sure you're prone to getting counter invaded or jungled or whatever. But yeah, her clear speed is just god awful. So I mean, you can make it out of the early game, get some ganks in, I guess. But you know, your goal is to get the mid game and late game safely so you can destroy team fights, or gank at level 6, or gank at level 3 with your 2 buffs. Otherwise, yeah, this champion's pretty nutty in the mid game and late game, I must say. Anyways, here's the recommended build for her. And finally, at number 1 is gonna be Ivern. This champion needs to get butchered because, well, this champion is just so OP in many ways. I mean, his shield, a 45% cooldown, makes your carries go insane, or your bruisers go super insane, especially if they have like a bunch of resists, because the shield literally comes up every 3 or 4 seconds. Makes your frontline have a nice slow as well. And also he can spawn his own tank called Daisy, who shits on people. Okay, so you know, his early game, it's alright, it's pretty decent or good. He's more of a counter jungler than anything. Doesn't really offer too much damage, kind of relies on his teammates for damage, of course, and is more support. But when it comes to mid game and late game, if you can make it there and someone's fed on your team, guess what? That fed person is just gonna kill everyone because you're going to be protecting him or her with your constant E, your redemption, whatever else you get. And I mean, you just enable him to go off and pop off. Like if you have a 3-0 Caitlyn, they're never going to kill her, especially if you have another support like Lulu or Janna, and yeah, I mean, they'll never die. And yeah, this champion just honestly, it's pretty fucking annoying. I always never will play a game if he's on the other team. I'm pretty sure I have like a 0% win rate against him. I don't think I've ever won against an Ivern. Another fun fact, I've probably never won as Ivern myself, but you know, that's another story. But yeah, anyways, this champion should be perma-picked or perma-banned. I think he's just way too nutty right now, and yeah, definitely deserves the number 1 spot, especially for solo queue and any elo. Anyways, here's the recommended build for him. Alright, so now we're going to be doing some honorable mentions, and first up is going to be Kazakh. So this champion got a little nerf, but people are still playing him, which means I guess he's good. So this guy, he's got some nice mid game and late game. I mean, if he pops off, he's gonna probably shit on your team if he's like 3-0 and you know your team's not inting, then he's gonna pop off in team fights. Oh, especially with the new Guardian Angel. Ooh, this enables him to suicide and go in, maybe get a kill or whatever, and play pretty aggressive. But for the most part, yeah, he's pretty scary mid game, late game. Early game, if he gets cucked, not that scary. Anyways, here's the recommended build for him. Next up is going to be Warwick. Okay, so this champion, ooh, I really like him. I feel like I want to main him sometimes, but sometimes I just ult in and die. Oops, that's my bad. But for some other people, this champion's pretty nutty. It's funny, I've seen Warwick's 1v5 because they get so fed in the early game and their team's pretty useless, like a 5-0 Warwick. Uh-oh, you're going to have problems in the mid game and late game unless you can kill him. But that's hard because of his E, which gives damage reduction, plus he heals a lot with his Q, and he's also really good at killing people who are really aggressive and stupid and kind of get low 50% health, because he'll just hunt them down and chase them down and yeah, kill them. A really good counter ganker, if I must say. Also good at ganking as well, but a lot of people don't play him in high elo too much, only some maybe one tricks or whatever, or people who really like him. I really like him, but I feel like a lot of people are prioritizing like Elise and stuff like that. But anyways, here's a recommended build for him. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did like this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you didn't, make sure to subscribe. Anyways, I am Panstar Dragon, and I'll see you guys next time.